What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This video I actually shot last year and it somehow got lost in the sauce and I never put it out. I really thought that I did, but it has to do with this idea of what do you do when it's all too much?
I just can't do it anymore.
Do you leave your school? Do you leave teaching? I know a lot of people are feeling this right now. I've seen a lot of comments in our Facebook group, Real Rap With Reynolds Teacher Talk, lately of folks talking about this idea. And so I wanted to make a quick video, and I did. And it came out, it should have come out a year ago, but it didn't. And so now it's coming out now. And I really hope that this brings some value to you. If you think that this is something that one of your colleagues, one of your friends, one of your own children need to hear, something that they need some insight, some direction in this area, please consider forwarding it to them. And with that, let's jump into it. This is an interesting video. This question showed up in my Facebook group. I'm not going to say who asked it, but the idea was there was a young teacher, someone who's still in college that is in school to be a teacher. Their dream since they were in 8th grade was to be an educator. But now in our Facebook group, they see so much negative talk, they said, around teaching that they're not sure they want to pursue it. They were asking if this is something they should do or should they switch career paths before they even get there. There's a couple of things here to say. There's a lot here to say, but let's get through this. One, we tried to create a Facebook group that we felt was a safe space for educators to explore and express what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what they're going through. Sometimes that's a dark place, but people being vulnerable, right, helps them to heal with what they're going through and find solutions to what they're going through. So there's one thing to just complain about stuff, and then there's something completely different about trying to seek out answers and how to optimize yourself and those around you and to be the best version of yourself in the classroom. So I think sometimes that's where what can seem like just negative talk is because education's a pretty negative space right now and there are a lot of people leaving. Does that mean you should leave though? That's what I want to get to. So when I think about this question, one of the things that really comes to mind is what is your calling? What do you feel led to do? What does your intuition tell you? Did you feel like you wanted to be a teacher because you really liked English or biology, or was it something bigger than that? So for some of us, right, I felt called to teaching. This is a thing. I knew that this was my mission. This was my job. This is what I was given to do. And I wanted to do that in a very specific neighborhood. There were students that I wanted to help that were on the margins. There were the kids in school that I felt like probably got passed by their whole lives and are 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade reading levels that are in 9th grade, kids that are in trouble a lot of times. And so I knew that I had the patience, I had the gift to connect. And so that's the space that I want to move into. So that's what I did. Now, many of you do feel called to what you're doing. So what do you do when you just feel like your school's not a very particularly good place? Right now, we have lost about 26% of our educators this year, right? So over a quarter of our teachers have already quit for the year. Do I think that you should quit? I think it really comes down to what are you willing to tolerate and how much are you willing to influence the school that you're currently teaching at. So I have spoken to everyone, right? I do not stay quiet. I have spoken to everyone from people on the board to the current administration, to the current CEO, to parents, teachers, my department head, my grade level chairs. I have voiced my opinion. I have shared my thoughts and feelings. I've tried to be a part of a collective voice of folks that are trying for positive change. And to me, that's the place where you start. It is not just being silent. It is not just talking with your friends about it, but it's pushing back and seeing how much change you could possibly make. And I'm telling you, there is a lot. There's a lot that you could do as an educator to share, to not just have a complaint, but try and be a part of a solution that there is room there to move. There are so many teachers in any given school, and they always outnumber the administration. And not that I'm saying there should be a coup or something, but I'm saying that your collective voice should be heard, but someone needs to be there to collect those voices, to give them some structure, and then to communicate that. And what if that person is you? What if the person you've been waiting for to come along to help fix the situation is you?
It's always been me.
What do we do about if it still not enough at your school, what should you do then? Look, I think if you're in a particular situation, you're still not sure your school's the right place, but you don't want to move, there's a couple things to consider, right? There's this idea that the grass is always greener on the other side, right? But sometimes I think the grass is always greener where it's getting watered. So if you're moving to a school that seems better and you do some research and you find out that the teachers are getting resources that they need, they're getting the time, the space, the money, the energy, and the support that they need to be the teachers they are called to be, then that's a place worth contemplating going to. I don't think all schools are created equal. I mean, anyone that's been in the classroom for 5 seconds knows that. But I don't know that when we put all of our emphasis on students and on leaving and wanting to stay somewhere for kids, unless you feel that inside, right? I think that it's worth considering moving to another school. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And so for those of you that are just thinking about it, for what it's worth, look, if you find a place that you can flourish more, I think that is a place worth considering going to. And remember this, there are kids everywhere. And I talk about this in my book, this idea that when I started teaching, I thought the only place of value to teach was somewhere that was like in the inner city or in like rural Montana or Kentucky or somewhere that was just going to be difficult. And what I found is that one, not all those places are difficult, and that was a stupid idea for me to think to begin with. And two, this idea that all kids need care. All kids need good teachers. Now, there are more good teachers that flock to better schools to begin with, but I think that it's worth considering where is the best fit for you and where are you going to find your educational family, that family you can grow with, that you can flourish with, and that you can be the teacher you always wanted to be. Two more quick things. If you're choosing to stay where you are, what do you do now? I think that there are two things that I've talked about them ad nauseum, and I can't say them enough because they are the most important things. One is learning how to say no.
No. Nope. Nah, man.
Not a chance.
No! Absolutely not.
Oh, hell no.
There are a million things I say no to in a given day. All of a sudden this year we reinstituted lesson plans. I haven't done a lesson plan in over a decade. So I say no to things like that. I say no to like extra, if they're looking for sometimes like extra people to do like some sort of like bus duty or outside duty. If I know I have something to do, if I know I only have so many hours in a day to spend getting things done for my students in class, I say no to those things unless it's really helping someone out, unless they're really strapped, unless I really feel like it's something I can help with and I can bring something to that. That's different. But for instance, I typically eat lunch with my students twice a day during lunch. Both of my prep periods are filled with about 30 students in my classroom. I no longer do that. I do it once a day, and the other prep I have been making myself, not telling anyone that my room is open. I just want it quiet, I lock the door, and I get stuff done. And so that has provided me with the opportunity to get an enormous amount of work done in a 47-minute period that otherwise would be spent talking to students. The students still get that time during the day. They still get it from me in class. They still get it from me during that one lunch period. And I'm always here after school helping kids and talking them through things. So it's not that it doesn't exist. It's just that I have had to make more time for myself by saying no. Similarly, there was a dodgeball game in the dining hall today between the freshmen and the sophomores.
In her home country of Romanovia, dodgeball is the national sport.
All the kids came up afterwards and they were like, listen, Reynolds, how come you didn't come down to that thing? That some kid told me that was exactly the kind of thing that you'd be into. The reason I didn't go was because I had to get grades in at the end of the day. And I know if I didn't do it then it wasn't gonna happen. So sometimes, even if it looks shiny and it sounds fun, it's learning how to say no so that you can do more and get more done. And that's gonna help you to stay healthier at school. The other thing, number two, is this idea of taking care of yourself. You have to make time for yourself. You have to pour into yourself. And pouring into yourself doesn't just mean a box of wine and Netflix at night.
Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max.
It means pouring things into you that are gonna help you to get better. Who do you hang around with and feel better? What music, what movies, what activities that when you do them, you feel like a better version of yourself? That's the kind of stuff that you want to do. It is always better to show up at school at an 11 with a lesson plan that's on a 6 than come in on a 6 with a lesson plan that's on an 11. Last thing, I'm actually here because I I hadn't planned on shooting this video today, but my car broke down and my wife has to pick me up, and now I see her outside my window here. So I'm gonna have one more thing I'm gonna talk about, and I'm gonna split.
Get in the car.
The last thing is, look, what if you are that person, you wanted to be a teacher ever since you were a kid, and now you're seeing the state of education and wondering whether or not you should do this. I think that if this is what your mission, what your goal, what your dream has been your whole life, of course you should do it. Don't let the experiences of other people jade what you are. Those experiences are real. Those people are really going through stuff. It's really not easy for them right now, but that shouldn't change whether or not you want to do this thing. When you start teaching and people tell you to take it slow, to not take so much on, to don't spend so many hours at school, to don't spend so many hours planning stuff, building stuff, creating stuff, making experiences for students, I would say to you, do not listen to them. It is so exciting when you start doing something and you've been waiting to do it. You want to set up the classroom, you want to have the lessons, your worksheets are the coolest in the whole school. You want to create monumental moments for your kids to learn, to grow, and to find success in. You should pour everything you have into that. But it is important to remember that you can only give what you have, and that if you don't have it in you, you're not going to be able to give it. You have to design that balance, and that's maybe a whole nother video. But if you are dreaming of this, if you think that it's the right move to another school, to move to another job, to actually get into teaching, and you feel it in your heart, that is literally the only thing that you need to know before moving into this. That's it. I'm gonna get my car and go home and have my other car fixed. That was an unusually short ending, but hey, look, don't forget to follow us. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you feel like you know a teacher that needs to hear this message, send it on to them, please. We're just trying to be a blessing to as many people as we can. And that's it, gang. See you next time. Peace.